Imagine a single moment that could unravel the secrets of your past and change your life forever. The night was wrapped in velvet darkness, and the elegant restaurant shimmered beneath crystal chandeliers. Soft music played, the clinking of glasses blended with laughter, and every table was set with white linens that gleamed under the golden glow of the lamps. But in the midst of this luxury, a young waitress named Emily carried the weight of a life that had never known ease. She moved quietly, pouring water, arranging plates, and forcing a polite smile that hid the pain of unpaid bills and endless struggles. Her heart beat with the ache of someone who had lost more than she could bear. Emily's father had been everything to her. Her guide, her protector, her hero. But years ago, he had passed away under circumstances that left her mother broken and their family drowning in debts. Since then, Emily had worked day and night to survive. Each glass she polished, each plate she carried was a step further from the dreams she once had of finishing college and living a life of dignity. Tonight, she expected nothing different, just another long shift serving wealthy strangers who barely noticed her. But she had no idea that fate was about to open a chapter she thought was forever closed. Gripping hook, what if one glance at a stranger's table could bring your deepest loss back to life? Sparkles, before we go further into this emotional journey, if you believe in kindness, in second chances, and in stories that remind us of humanity's hidden beauty, please take a moment to like this video. Share it with your friends, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to our channel, Whisper Fable. Your support helps us keep telling stories that touch hearts. Sparkles. At the corner table sat a man who drew the room's attention without even trying. His silver hair gleamed. His navy suit was tailored to perfection. And every movement reflected the power he carried in his world. This was Alexander Grant, a billionaire CEO known for his brilliance in business, his cold precision, and the empire he had built from scratch. To the world, he was untouchable, an icon of success. But to Emily, as she approached his table with a jug of water, he was just another wealthy man she would never know beyond a fleeting moment. She poured the water carefully into his glass, her mind already moving to the next table, when her eyes fell on the leather-bound folder he was reading. It wasn't a menu. It was something else entirely, filled with pages of diagrams, blueprints, and signatures. Emily's gaze froze. Her breath caught in her throat. And then, as if the world had slowed to a stop, she saw it. A signature, a name written in familiar strokes, slanted in the same way she had seen it on old birthday cards, school forms, and the precious letters tucked away in a box at home. It was her father's handwriting. Her hands trembled, and the glass she was filling nearly overflowed. She stared at the page, her heart pounding, her body shaking as disbelief turned to certainty. It was her father's signature. Her voice, broken with emotion, slipped out before she could stop herself. "Sir, that's my dad's signature." Alexander looked up, startled, his sharp eyes narrowing as he studied the young woman standing before him. For a moment, silence fell between them, the hum of the restaurant fading into nothingness. Emily's lips quivered as she pointed to the page, her eyes glistening with tears. Alexander followed her gaze, then glanced back at her, his face unreadable, and then slowly his hand began to tremble. He knew that name. He remembered it from decades ago, etched in the foundation of his success. The signature belonged to William Hayes, Emily's father. Years ago, William had been Alexander's closest friend, mentor, and business partner. But somewhere along the journey to power, betrayal, greed, and misunderstandings had torn them apart. The contract in front of him was a relic from that painful chapter, hidden away in legal archives for years. He had buried the memory, convincing himself it was better forgotten. And yet, here was William's daughter, standing before him, eyes wide with shock and longing, bringing the past back to life. Alexander's glass slipped from his hand and crashed onto the table, spilling water across the white cloth. His heart raced, not with anger, but with the weight of guilt and regret he had suppressed for so long. He saw William's face in Emily's eyes, the same honesty, the same fire. And for the first time in years, the billionaire who feared nothing felt utterly vulnerable. Emily stepped back, her cheeks burning with embarrassment, afraid she had crossed a line. But Alexander's voice, low and shaken, broke the silence. He asked her about her father, about her life, about how she had ended up here. With trembling words, Emily spoke of nights spent watching her mother struggle, of dreams abandoned, of a life where survival replaced hope. She told him how her father had been everything to her, and how his loss had left a wound that never healed. Each word struck Alexander like a blade. He realized that while he had been climbing higher into the skies of wealth, William's family had been sinking under the weight of hardship. The man who had once stood by him had left behind a daughter who now worked as a waitress to survive. Tears welled in his eyes, hidden quickly behind the facade of a powerful man. But Emily saw the shift in his expression. For the first time, the billionaire looked not like a giant of industry, but like a man burdened with the shadows of his past. In that moment, a decision formed in his heart. He could not erase the years of pain, nor could he bring back the father she had lost, but he could choose to honor William's memory and give Emily the chance she deserved. Over the next few weeks, Alexander reached out quietly, offering her a scholarship to return to school, helping her mother with financial burdens, and even creating a foundation in William's name. Emily resisted at first, her pride wounded, but when she saw the sincerity in Alexander's actions, her heart softened. Slowly, Emily's life began to change. She was no longer the waitress struggling to hide her tears in the bathroom between shifts. She became a student again, chasing the dreams her father once encouraged her to follow. She watched her mother smile for the first time in years, relief shining in her weary eyes. And through it all, she carried the belief that somewhere her father was proud, watching her reclaim the life she thought was lost forever. Alexander, too, was transformed. The empire he had built felt hollow compared to the quiet joy of knowing he had made amends. He no longer measured success by numbers or headlines, but by the lives he could touch and the legacy of kindness he could leave behind. For Emily, he became not a replacement for her father, but a bridge to the dreams her father had always wanted her to reach. Sparkling Heart, if this story touched your heart, please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe to Whisper Fable. Your support means more than you know. And it helps us continue to spread stories that remind us of the power of love, forgiveness, and second chances. Sparkling Heart. And before we close, we have a special request. Please comment below with the words, "Kindness lives on," if you believe that even in the darkest moments, compassion can change everything. As the chandeliers glowed above and the restaurant's hum carried on, Emily poured one last glass of water at a stranger's table. But this time, she did it with a smile that wasn't forced. She knew her father's signature had not just been ink on a page. It had been the spark that turned pain into purpose and loss into a second chance. And in that moment, she realized the truth. Sometimes life takes everything away, only to return something far greater.